Bonjour! If you're a fan of the Bridgerton series, and I know a lot of you have watched it, I did and I really enjoyed it, then you're going to be taking on a tour today of all the filming locations where it was shot. But because I'm into travel, I'm giving you also a list of the hotels and B&Bs where I recommend you stay at each stop. I also created for you a Google map with all of the sites and all the accommodations I'm going to talk about. So stay tuned to hear at the end of the video how you can get hold of that Google map. So we start in London. Actually, most of the scenes were shot in Bath, more on that later, but some key places were in the capital city, as you can see on the map. First of all, the Bridgerton family home. So you may think that it was filmed in London, and it's actually said to be on Grosvenor Square, where I used to work, but it's none other than Ranger's House in Greenwich, which is in southeast London. So it's in London, but quite far from the centre. At the time Bridgerton is set, which is 1813, this Georgian villa was actually inhabited by King George III's sister, Princess Augusta. Today it has a world-class art collection which you can visit. The second house is Lancaster House. It is located near Buckingham Palace, and you may recognize it from appearing in The Crown as a stand-in for Buckingham Palace. In Bridgerton, it was used to film several of the balls and party scenes and the tea that Lady Bridgerton has with the Queen. Lancaster House was built in 1825 for the Duke of York and Albany, the second son of King George II, and was named York House. The home was so sumptuous, Queen Victoria herself is said to have called it a palace when visiting. Then there is a Reform Club, which is a typical gentleman's club. It is on Pall Mall, and this is where Viscount Bridgerton and the Duke of Hastings meet in episode 1 to discuss the latter's return to society. In London, I recommend that you stay in two places that are quite central and that will allow you to go to those houses very easily, because they're actually close to the Embankment Pier, where you can take the Thames Clipper. The two hotels are Henrietta Hotel in Covent Garden and Haymarket Hotel near Piccadilly Circus. The first one is in Henrietta Hotel in the heart of Covent Garden. It is set in two elegant Victorian townhouses. The decor was designed by a French designer who refurbished several hotels in Paris as well. There are 18 rooms starting at £175. Haymarket Hotel is a luxury option and it has a pool in the basement. It's near Piccadilly Circus. There are 17 suites. Prices start at £330. The bar and restaurants are very popular too. Now, I recommend that you go to Greenwich by the Thames Clipper. It's a 1-hour cruise on the Thames and it will allow you to view London from the river, go on the Tower Bridge, etc. It stops at many of the world-famous London landmarks every 20 minutes. So on your way to Greenwich, you could, for instance, stop at the Tower of London, then explore the City of London, and then you go to Greenwich. On the way back, you can disembark at Westminster Pier to see the Houses of Parliament and Westminster Abbey. You could also take a stroll through St James Park to see Buckingham Palace. Outside of London, the historic dockyard of Chatham was the place they used to recreate the slum areas of London and its darker underbelly in the 1800s. It's also obviously where the boxing matches and boxing practice happen. It is one of Britain's most important royal dockyards. It had a very big role in historic events like the Spanish Armada and the Cold War. Nearby, you can stay at the Amano restaurant with rooms. It has 4 rooms starting at £140 and it's only 24 minutes drive to dockyards. Apparently, the Italian food is very good. South of London, you can go explore Penzhill Park. Now, as you saw in the movie, a lot of the families were spending time in the parks and the gardens. And to portray Primrose Hill, which is a lovely park in London, they actually use Penzhill Park in Surrey. Penzhill Park is an 18th century landscape garden with a serpentine lake, a Gothic temple, curved bridges, winding path, as well as a crystal grotto. It is one of the most famous and best remaining examples of an 18th century landscape garden park. In Surrey, the two places I recommend are the Mitre Hampton Court, which, as its name says, is just opposite Hampton Court, a fabulous site to visit as well, or Beaverbrook Hotel, which is a country hotel with spa in the countryside, which is absolutely lovely. The affordable option to stay nearby is the Mitre. It's just in front of Hampton Court Palace, which is the magnificent seat of the Tudor dynasty and Henry VIII summer digs. It is really worth a visit in itself. The hotel opened about a year ago and their decor is really lovely. Their restaurant has lovely views over River Thames as well, and you can enjoy some very good Brit cuisine. There are 36 rooms starting at £105 a night, and it's only an 8 minutes drive to the park. Now, if you want luxury, you could stay at Beaverbrook Hotel, which is only 19 minutes to the park by car. Now, it's really luxury. Rooms start at £700. For that price, you get magnificent gardens, a grand house where Elizabeth Taylor, Rudyard Kipling and Ian Fleming all stayed, as well as Winston Churchill. We actually enjoyed a spa day there last summer because there's a fabulous indoor and outdoor pool. There's a review of that in the description below with a link to the blog post. And the interiors are by Susie Atkinson of Soho House fame. We'll talk about Soho House further as well. Moving out of London, we're going to go west towards Bath and Gloucestershire. Bath has a starring role in the series, as much of the filming took place in the city, with the golden Georgian stone and grand buildings used as a backdrop, standing in for Regency London. On the way from London to Bath, you can stop to visit Wilton House, which is one of the main settings for the series. It's still a family home, the Pembroke family, who lived there for 450 years. It is set in 21 acres of parkland and gardens, many of them seen in several episodes. The house, with its 17th century interiors and world-famous art collection by renowned artists such as Van Dyck, Peter Bruegel, Rembrandt, Van Rijn and Richard Wilson, has been used in many films of series. For instance, it was in The Crown. This is where Princess Diana prances about in a leotard and tutu. In Bridgerton, the house is used for Daphne's presentation to the Queen, as well as a facade for the London Duke of Hastings residence and the dining room of Cliveden Castle. While a third of the house is still private, the rest of the opulent rooms are usually open to the public, making it the ideal location for post-lockdown cultural visit. Nearby, you could stay at the Beckford Arms. It's only 20 minutes from Milton House. It's a pub with rooms. There are 8 of them, with some classic traditional materials such as stone, wood and sisal, but they add a splash of colour through the use of hand-picked white flowers or some colourful wool blankets. The prices start at £92. Now in Bath, there are many sights to see. Here are the ones that have been used in the series. First of all, Bath Street, with its cobblestones and striking line of colonnades down each side. It appears in the first trailer for the show, and it is used for several street scenes. At the end of Bath Street is the Spa Quarter. This is the area where you go to the Thames and where the water bubbles up from the springs at a temperature of 46 degrees. Now, of course, in Bath, Royal Crescent is the most notable site. This is where the Featherington family has a house at number 1 Royal Crescent, and this is actually a museum due to reopen in April 2021, so you're able to visit it. Tucked away behind the Roman bath, you'll find the Abbey Deli on Abbey Green. The cafe stands in for the Modist, a dress shop, which is, as we know, key to the story. And then you've got the Holborn Museum. The exterior of the Holborn Museum was used for filming the entrance to one of the ball scenes in Bridgerton, standing in for Lady Danbury's grand abode. The museum includes over 10,000 objects gathered over the last 200 odd years. And then finally, the assembly rooms. The tea room and ballroom of the assembly rooms make perfect grand backdrops for the sumptuous ball scenes full of glamorous and vivacious costumes and hairstyles. Bath is a very fabulous city, and there are a lot of lovely hotels and B&Bs that you can stay at. I'm recommending you 2 today, but you can see more places in my blog. There's a post about 5 B&Bs in Bath, and there are several hotels in Somerset, not far from Bath, that I really recommend you to check. The 2 hotels today are Brindleys, a B&B, and the Royal Crescent Bath Hotel and Spa in the Royal Crescent. The first one is a B&B, and it's called Brindleys Boutique. It is located south of the river, but only a 5 to 7 minutes walk away from the center. It has 6 bedrooms, starting at £115. Or you can go for a luxury option and stay at the Royal Crescent Hotel and Spa. They actually have developed a Live Like a Bridgerton package, which includes a 2-night stay in one of their decadent rooms or suites, a champagne afternoon tea in the Sunsoak Gardens, and an exclusive private evening tour of the Featherington residence. Prices start from £410 per room per night, based on a 2-night package. Outside of Bath, not far, is a badminton estate. Visited by several kings and queens throughout the centuries, this 17th century estate was used to film scenes set in the Duke of Hastings' London home, as well as the parlour and grounds of Cleveland Castle. It is primarily private, but you can ask to book a private group tour of the house and gardens. Where to stay? My recommendation is Lucknam Park, a luxury hotel in the countryside. There are many things to enjoy at the hotel, and families will really like it. We stayed at Lucknam Park a couple of times. It's actually where my husband proposed, so you can again check my review via the link below. The arrival through the Grand Alley is beautiful. Inside, it's a very top luxury classic English setting with a fabulous service, with a pool, horse center, bikes, croquet, tennis court, playground. There is plenty to keep everyone occupied. It's also worth knowing that if you have kids, the Longleat Safari and Adventure Park, which is really nice, is only 40 minutes away. Rooms start at £280. And finally, from Bath, you could decide to return to London via Buckinghamshire or even go further north. These are the last two places I want to take you to. First is another exquisite park, Stowe Park in Buckinghamshire, whose scale and beauty has wowed visitors for over 300 years. The parkland was used to depict Vauxhall Pleasure Garden in the show, with its Temple of Venus providing the glittering backdrop to the outdoor Vauxhall Ball in the very first episode. For those last two places, here are two options. So on your way back to London, as I said, if you want to stay to look at Stowe Park, one place that you can stay at is Soho Farmhouse, which is a private club, a bit more in a minute, or it's also the Crown in Amersham, a cheaper option. Around here, you could stay at the Crown Amersham. This 500-year-old coaching inn has undergone a successful makeover at the hands of style guru Is Crawford, who injected a fresh contemporary comfy design that works very well with the history of the place. There are 38 rooms and price start at £92. You could also decide to stay at Soho Farmhouse. You need to be a Soho House member and to book well in advance. But if you can, it's a fun place to stay and you're sure to bump into celebrities. I did. It is a playground of the London media and young trendy influencers who are escaping to the country. You stay in spacious cabins with bikes to roam around, and you can dine at various restaurants, go to the spa, get on a horse, go to the movies, etc. I was lucky to be invited by a friend a few years ago, so you can view a short video tour here and read my review through the link in the description. And then the final place is really up north in York, North Yorkshire, and it's Castle Howard. After Simon and Daphne's wedding, the couple moves into the fictional Cleveland Castle. However, the facade, entrance hall, and grounds of the estate were actually filmed at Castle Howard. The Baroque stately home took over 100 years to complete. The surrounding parklands are just as grand as well. And once its doors open again, you can take a tour of the castle and its treasure trove of inspiring architecture, fanciful stories, and tranquil gardens. Nearby, you can stay at the Talbot. It's a former 17th century coaching inn transformed into a contemporary pub with rooms. The rooms can be a bit bold in colour, but I do like the look of the lounges and dining areas. Prices start at £140. So here you go, a total of 15 sites and 10 hotels or B&Bs for a wonderful tour of behind the scenes of Bridgerton. Make sure to check the map to map your own journey, your own road trip, for instance. And I also provided links to bookings for these hotels down in the description, which hopefully you'll be able to book when they reopen. In the UK, it should be from the 17th of May. I hope you enjoyed that. Let me know if you want similar videos, and à bientôt. Au revoir.